Hi, and welcome to another edition of Right on Rangers Live, coming at you during a 12-2 Rangers lead in the bottom of the eighth inning, bases loaded. Robbie Grossman up to the plate. It has been a fun day of baseball, no doubt. And we are going to get into all the scoring, the highlights, all the details, go through the box score with you. Man, when you have games and when you have offensive outpourings like this one, it is fun. And it's about time the Rangers had a game like this. Just an absolute hit parade. We're going to bring you the rest of the game live here. Robbie Grossman up to the plate right now. Full count. Fouls one off. Rangers have the bases loaded, looking to add on to a 12-2 lead. My goodness. Natalie, what's up? Update on Carter. I believe the update is he's going to be rehabbing before the All-Star break. I don't know if he's going to be back before the All-Star break, but I think he is going to be going out on a rehab at some point, maybe late next week. I could be wrong, but that's the last that I heard. So maybe we'll get Evan Carter back sometime after the All-Star break, hopefully sooner rather than later. But I think that's the plan as of right now. Maybe there's something a little bit more updated out there, but I think about 3-4 days ago, that's what I had heard. So thanks for tuning in today, by the way. Whether you're watching live or on the replay, appreciate you choosing Right on Rangers for your Texas Rangers baseball content. There's a lot of stuff out there, but thank you for your support. If you're not following, you're not subscribed to the channel yet, would really appreciate it. Stay up to date with all of our latest and greatest content and get notified every time we go live, which is pretty much after every Rangers game. Of course, here right on Rangers, we cover everything sports, put a little bit of an extra emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers and especially the Rangers during baseball season. Robbie Grossman walked, so it is now a 13-2 Texas Rangers lead. And Derek Hill is up to bat. Hill is 1 for 4 on the day. And he has, I believe, a walk as well. Could be wrong on that. I lied. He has an RBI, though. So Derek Hill looking to add on to his nice day up at the dish. A lot of Rangers with outstanding numbers today. A lot of Rangers with really, really good numbers. It's going to be fun going up and down the box score as Derek Hill works the count to a 1-0. And we're going to see what he can do with bases loaded here. Looks like ball 2 incoming. So a few Rangers. I think there's 5 different Rangers at the moment with multi-hit days. Corey Seager, Wyatt Langford, Nate Lowe. Nate Lowe went 1 for 4 today. Jonah Heim, Leody Taveras, Travis Jankowski. 5 Rangers with multi-hit days today. Love to see it. Absolutely love to see it, especially from guys like Jonah Heim, Travis Jankowski, guys that, Heim, I think, had a nice game yesterday, and he's kind of been coming along a little bit, but Travis Jankowski just really, really struggling of late. Nice to see him have a multi-hit game. Derek Hill looks like he's going to fly out to the left fielder here. Looked like he got a hold of it. Took the left fielder all the way back to about midpoint of the track. Thought maybe that was going to be a grand slam off the bat, but Derek Hill flies out. So we will go to the top of the ninth. We will go to the top of the ninth with the Rangers leading 13-2. 19 Ranger hits today. 19 Texas Rangers hits today. You have got to love it. This has got to be the most hits in a game. I can't remember a game where we got to 20 this year. This has got to be the most hits we've ever had in a game this season. I mean, clearly, I think there's other games where, as a whole, as a franchise, we've collected more. But I think this season, 19 has got to be the season high. So let's start going through some of the big moments of the game. Corey Seager goes a very impressive 2 for 4 today, extends his hitting streak to 12 games. Seager, double, homer, 3 RBI, averages up to 271 on the year. Corey Seager, when he is going well, this Rangers offense usually follows. And Seager, big 3-run homer. The game was 4-2 at that point. I believe Travis Jankowski had just singled to make it a 4-2 ball game. And Corey Seager comes up, bottom of the fourth, hits a 3-run blast that, with Evo on the bump, essentially put the game out of reach. I think once it was 7-2, even though it was still only the bottom of the fourth inning, you just kind of felt like that was going to be it. Evo has pitched very well against the Rays earlier this season. You might remember Nate Eovaldi went 7 strong innings against the Rays, didn't allow any runs. So Evo has the Rays number over the past couple of years. And today, beyond the 2-run homer that he gave up in the top of the third, it was pretty much lights out. 5 Ks, 4 hits, no walks for Evo today. Anytime you can get Evo not giving up any free passes, it's pretty much a win. I mean, in your back pocket. So I think Evo today was outstanding. Evo lowered his ERA to 3.10 on the season, and back-to-back quality starts for Nate Eovaldi. Huge to have him, I think, going on the bump today. You got a chance to get a sweep. We said at the beginning of the week, the goal for this year really needed to be, for this week, not this year, this week, really needed to be for the Rangers to go 4-2. So when the Rangers dropped their last 2 games to the Padres in the early week series, I can't say that I was feeling phenomenal about their chances of going 4-2, but here they are. They are 2 outs away as we get a ground ball out, 2 outs away from sweeping the Rays, going 4-2 on the homestand. Really exactly what the doctor ordered. I mean, it would have been great to go 2 out of 3 against the Pods and then sweep the Rays. That would have been outstanding. But you'll take a 4-2 homestand. And now the Rangers are going to get on a happy flight to LA for 3 games against the Angels out in Anaheim. And then you'll have Thursday off, and then the Rangers will go to Houston for a big series with the Astros before the All-Star break. I think the Rangers have positioned themselves very well. I think ideally you go 2 out of 3 against the Angels. Maybe you can get a sweep out in Anaheim. You get a sweep out in Anaheim, and I think that really takes a lot of pressure off of the Astros series. I'm not trying to be negative or throw out negative vibes going into that Houston series. Clearly, the Rangers can win ball games in Houston just like they did last postseason. But if you sweep the Angels, then you go into Houston really only needing to win 1 game to stay on target. Going 8-4 2 weeks in the 2 weeks before the All-Star game, before the All-Star break, is a great record to have. 8-4. I don't think there's any shame in that, and I think that positions the Rangers well to stay competitive in the playoff hunt, to maybe be a buyer at the deadline, but I think things are trending towards the Rangers not being sellers, not being buyers, maybe just standing pat, getting Josh Young back, getting some other pieces back like Evan Carter and Cody Bradford. Kind of a tough call. You really don't want to go out and buy a bat right now at the trade deadline and risk missing the playoffs. I don't even know if the Rangers really need a bat at this point once they get everybody back healthy. I don't know. I'm conflicted, y'all. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm very conflicted. I don't know whether or not I want to spend farm capital on a bat right now with the Rangers and just the feel of the season. As much as I would love for them to go out and get a right-handed power bat, then you got to start thinking about how that bat is going to fit into this lineup. So right now, it looks really good with the outfielders. Leote is having a phenomenal stretch of games right now. I don't know if you can rely on all these guys at the bottom of the order to keep hitting well. But when you get Josh Young back, then you have to answer the question of what you do with Josh Smith. And Josh Smith is going to be, I think, a guy you really can't take out of the lineup. Wyatt Langford has now asserted himself as a guy you can't take out of the lineup. So here's my point in bringing all that up. Where do you fit a righty power bat that you theoretically acquire at the deadline? Nate Lowe is kind of coming around. I think Nate Lowe's spot would have been the obvious choice as the Rangers seal this one 13-2 victory. Grant Anderson coming in, slamming the door shut. Grant Anderson, 2 strong innings, 3 Ks. Good to see him, even in a blowout. Look, you know as well as I do, guys come in during blowouts, the focus, the sharpness isn't there, and they give up a few runs. Grant Anderson, good on him coming in, giving us 2 shutout innings, 3 Ks, only 1 base runner allowed. Good for Grant Anderson. Let me get out of the game here, and then we can just totally lock in on post-game analysis. So, as we were saying, I think if you go out and get somebody at the deadline, you're going to have a problem fitting them into the lineup. I mean, Nate Lowe, maybe against lefties, you have somebody come in. If you get a first baseman, you could have a right-handed first baseman come in and spell him. I don't know who out there is available, but I think that is a potential scenario. But you would think that they're probably going to have Josh Smith DH and play third base when Josh Young comes back. And you'd also think maybe they're going to give Josh Young some DH opportunities as well. I just don't know. I struggle to figure out where they're going to fit a right-handed power bat if they go out and get one at the deadline. And I also struggle with, do you really want to give up draft capital at this point? I don't know if this team is one bat away from being an elite ball club. I mean, it can't hurt, right? But do you really want to give up farm system capital to go get a rental that may or may not really push you to the next level? I think you might be just having to ride it out with who we have right now. I think that might honestly be the play. At one point, I was really adamant they needed to go out and get a right-handed bat. I'm on the fence now. I'm on the fence with Wyatt Langford's emergence, with Langford hitting so well from both the 4 and the 5 spot right now. I just don't know if you need it as much. Now, is Wyatt going to continue to hit like this all season? I sure hope so. I think you've kind of got to take a gamble on that because the Rangers are going to be good next year. You're not going to see the Rangers fall off a cliff next year. You got a whole season of Jacob deGrom. I really struggle to think that the Rangers aren't going to be competitive in 2025. You got Wyatt Langford, Evan Carter with another year of experience under their belts. Corey Seager still going to be there. Josh Young, hopefully you get a full season of Josh Young healthy. Josh Smith, hopefully he can continue to be a great hitter beyond this year. You would think that he would be able to. I mean, those are 5 guys right there. If you have those 5 guys in your lineup, here we go. So I don't know. I think the Rangers might hopefully just be playing themselves into not selling anybody at the deadline. Maybe you see them go get a small piece here or there to give you some depth. But I wouldn't be shocked if the Rangers don't do a lot at the trade deadline if they continue to play well. Now, if they take a turn, if this road stretch that they go on, going for 3 games out in Anaheim, getting on a flight today, tomorrow night they'll be playing the Angels on the road. Then you go to Houston before the All-Star break. I mean, look, if they took an absolute dump on this road stretch of games, maybe you get into a position where you got to be a seller. But I think the Rangers are going to play well enough before the deadline to at least not play them into having to trade off some of those guys who are on expiring contracts. You know, the Mike Lorenzens, the David Robertsons, the Kirby Yates, Andrew Heaney, Nate Eovaldi. I think Eovaldi's probably the guy that they're going to try and hold on to the most because Evo is probably going to have a player option next year. And Evo's a big clubhouse presence, a leader in the clubhouse. Again, you want Evo for next year too. You want to have Evo in the rotation next year with Jacob deGrom, with John Gray, with Tyler Mahle. And who knows who they're going to have fill in the rest of the rotation. You've still got Dane Dunning under control. You've still got Cody Bradford under control. So I really think at this point, you want to hold on to Evo at all costs. But if the Rangers were to take a turn here for the worst, I do think they would try and offload some of those one-year deals. Leote is on an expiring contract. Could he be a potential trade piece? We don't want to talk too much or dwell too much on that because the Rangers are now on a nice little 3-game win streak, just swept the Rays, and you're going into the series with Anaheim with a lot of momentum. I could see the Rangers sweeping that series. I really could. I'm not just saying that as a Homer Rangers fan. The feel right now is they could go into Anaheim and sweep that series. Anaheim has not been playing well. They have been, I think they've lost about 5 of their last 7 games, something like that. They're not on a good run right now. They were on a 5-game win streak before that. So, look, I think Wash is going to have them ready to go when we come to town. But the feel right now is we could go into Anaheim and get a sweep. At minimum, we could go into Anaheim and get 2 out of 3. I think that is exactly how I feel right now. I think the Houston series is going to be tough. If you go out and get a sweep in Anaheim, makes it a lot easier. But the feel right now is they're going to go on the road and do some good things. I hope that ends up being right. Let me get some comments real quick here. Smith will play everywhere, I would think, and give guys breaks when they need it. Wyatt's been on a tear. Absolutely. Look, I don't know how much they want to move Josh Smith around to foreign positions, so to speak. I think he'll be playing a lot of infield. If Siegs ever needs a break at shortstop, you have Seager DH. I think he's going to fill in at shortstop, give Young some time off if Young just needs to DH when he gets back. I don't know how cute they're going to get moving Smith all over the place. I think if a guy like Leote gets off of his heater and maybe isn't going well, maybe you have Josh Smith go out in the outfield a little bit. I don't know if you want Josh Smith doing a whole lot of first base. I've heard a little bit of that. I can't see Josh Smith playing first base a lot. First of all, he's small. Second of all, first base is one of the toughest positions to play. It really is. There's a ton of moving parts. You have to be absolutely 100% on the mental side of playing first base. There's so much to think about. And I just don't think it's as easy as people make it out to be. Just, hey, go play first base, right? All you got to do is stand on the base and catch it from the other infielders, right? There's just a lot more to it than that. So I don't know how much they're going to play around with Josh Smith at other positions beyond shortstop, third base, maybe second base. I think that's going to be his sweet spot. Maybe if you're in a dire situation with a ton of outfielders not hitting well, maybe you have Josh Smith go to the outfield, but I think they're going to try and avoid that. When Evan Carter gets back, it's going to be even harder to do that. Now, my big question is Dolly. I think Dolly is a Gold Glover out in the outfield, but the bat has been terrible. What are you going to do with the Adolis Garcia? For me, it's not a coincidence that the lineup with Dolly out of it, and let me put it to you this way. Let me say this. I want to be careful. With Dolly out of a spot in the lineup that requires production, right? Adolis Garcia has been hitting cleanup the entire season. I don't think they've moved him out of that spot. It's not a coincidence to me that with Dolly out of the 4th spot, you have a really good day at the plate as an offense. Dolly hitting as badly as he's been hitting of late is an absolute killer when you have him hitting cleanup. I think if Dolly was hitting 6th, hitting 7th, even hitting 5th, you probably see a little bit of a better outpouring from our offense. But with Dolly hitting in the 4th spot and hitting under 200, it is really hard to have a good day as an offense. My hope is that Wyatt Langford did enough today, and he did a lot. Wyatt Langford was 4 for 5 today. I mean, 4 for 5, and he had, 5 total bases, so had a double today as well. My hope is that Wyatt Langford, with his performance today, secured the cleanup spot. I would like to see Wyatt Langford hit cleanup moving forward. Look, anything could happen, but I think Wyatt Langford is going to give you a better chance than Dolly right now from the cleanup spot. I don't know if there's a whole lot of Rangers fans that are going to disagree with that sentiment. I think Wyatt Langford gives you a better chance at offensive production from the cleanup spot than Dolly does right now. It's hard to say that. I love Dolly. He meant everything to us Rangers fans in October and into November in the World Series. But I think it's time. I think it's time to make a change. You benched Dolly today. He didn't play today. And I'm not saying bench him. He doesn't need to play at all. But I am saying I hope that this is the last day of Dolly at the cleanup spot until he can come around and get right. I don't think Dolly's right now. It's a reason why he was benched today. Yeah, maybe you can pass it off as it's a routine maintenance day. It's a routine off day for Dolly, but I hope that we've seen the last of Dolly from the cleanup spot until he comes around. I'm not saying he never needs to hold down the cleanup spot again, but I am saying for right now, I think they need to do something different. And I hope that this off day is an opportunity for them to say, look, we just scored 13 runs. Langford hit cleanup. Josh Smith in the 3 spot. Seager, Simeon, all having good at-bats up there at the plate. My hope is that it's a little more comfortable for the coaching staff to move Dolly out of the 4 spot. Look, there's feelings in baseball. I know everybody always says no crying in baseball. And look, I'm not saying Dolly is going to be sobbing in the locker room when they move him out of the 4 spot. But I am saying that I think it's a little bit easier of a transition. You're coming off of Dolly getting an off day, being out of the lineup. The offense just absolutely raked without him in the lineup. I think it's a little easier to say, Adolis, we're going to hit you 5 today. We're going to hit you 6 today. Let's see if maybe that can jumpstart the bat a little bit. That would be the thing I would like to see happen in the Angels series. Let's let Wyatt Langford continue to hit 4th. He's clearly on a very, very hot streak right now. He's found something. He hit that first home run out of the park against the Mets a couple weeks ago, and he's found something. Let's continue to let Langford produce and rake from that cleanup spot, and hopefully Dolly from the 5-6 spot can get right and start producing for the Rangers. The Rangers are a better team when Adolis Garcia is right. They've got to get him right, and I just don't think continuing to trot him out there in the cleanup spot is the right thing to do. I think this lineup today showed you when you have a hitter that is producing from the 4 spot, what that can do for the offense. Wyatt Langford hits cleanup today, gets 4 hits. It's not a coincidence that we scored 13 runs. It's not. It's not at all. So look, I'm not saying bench Dolly. I don't think Travis Jankowski and Derek Hill and those guys are the long-term answer in the outfield. I'd rather have Dolly in the lineup than Jankowski or Derek Hill. You can't bench Leote right now. The guy is absolutely on fire. Leote was 3 for 5 today. I mean, Leote is on an all-time, probably a career-high heater right now. You're not benching Leote. Maybe if there's a lefty up, you continue to do the platoon thing. I actually think the worst thing in the world for Leote right now would probably be to start against a lefty. If anything, you tell him, dude, look, ever since we benched you against lefties, you've been killing it. I hope that they don't say to themselves, well, he's so hot right now. Let's just see what he does against lefty starters. I hope they continue to do the exact same thing they've been doing with Leote. Start him against righties, bench him against lefties. Ever since they did that, he's been on a tear. Don't go away from it. So, look, you're not going to bench Leote against the righties. So, Dolly has a spot in this lineup. I just don't think it can continue to be the cleanup spot. The year that he's having has been very disappointing, extremely disappointing. Adolis Garcia, I'll read you the stats. I've mentioned them before. So, Adolis Garcia right now, 192 in his last 7 games, 191 in his last 30 games. That is an absolute killer, an absolute killer from the 4 spot. Adolis Garcia, 6 RBI in his last 30 games, 31 strikeouts in 110 at-bats. It's ugly. It's really ugly. So I hope that today was a day where the coaching staff can get together and say to themselves, this is a good opportunity for us to go a little bit of a different direction with the 4 spot in the lineup. I don't think that Garcia has a lot to stand on. He does not look good up there at the plate right now. He's had a couple of moments. I know he hit some homers in the Baltimore series, but in big moments, Garcia has not been the ultimate clutch hitter that he was last October. It hasn't been there. And with the Rangers season, I'm not trying to be overly dramatic, but with the Rangers season on the brink, right? The Rangers lose 4 or 5 games in a row at this point. It's pretty much a death sentence. You need production. I think with the urgency of the season, with the season kind of being on the brink, I think that they will make a change. I think that they will keep Wyatt Langford up there. I would be surprised to see Dolly penciled in the 4th spot again tomorrow. End of set. Not that Bochy and the coaching staff are listening to me or any other Rangers fan, but I think it would be a crime to put Adolis Garcia back in the 4th spot tomorrow. I think you've got to leave Langford up there. Dolly 5 or 6. I'd like to see him 6th. I think that is a perfect spot. You can hit Nate Lowe 5th, Dolly 6th, Jonah Heim 7th. Go from there. Or maybe you go Leote 7th, Jonah Heim 8th. But I don't want to see Dolly really any higher than 5. I could see them just sliding him down 1, kind of as a, all right, buddy, you know, we don't want to kill your confidence or hurt your feelings too much here. So we'll slide you down to 5. I think the ideal spot for him is 6. Then you have Leote or Heim hitting 7th and 8th. And then maybe a Derek Hill type hitting 9th, right? So that's the play to me. I hope that that's what happens. We'll see. Natalie, I don't know if Dolly's dealing with anything. It could be. I felt like that in the past. I think right now he's just not playing well. I think that an injury at this point is kind of an excuse for him. He's just not playing well. He's not seeing the ball well. He's swinging at a lot of bad pitches, and that has nothing to do with an injury. I think if Dolly looked disciplined up there at the plate, looked like he had a good eye and was being very selective and locking in on his pitches, and the production just wasn't there, I think I might be a little bit more inclined to take that stance. But Adolis just isn't swinging at good pitches right now. The approach up at the plate just isn't good right now. So with that being said, I don't know if I can excuse him and say, well, he's probably dealing with something. I just don't think his approach right now up at the plate is good at all. And for me, injury or not, when you don't have a good approach at the plate, when you're swinging at junk, not even giving yourself a chance up there, it has nothing to do with an injury, right? You're just not going right. So that's my take. Very well could be dealing with an injury, but with how bad his approach and his eye has been up at the plate, I tend to put it more on he's just not hitting well right now. I think that's a simplification, but I think it's a necessary one. Adolis just is not seeing the ball well right now. I think that going on more comments here, I don't think that they're going to trade anybody if they continue to win games before the All-Star break. I do think if they continue to be the team that they've been all season, win 3 or 4, lose 3 or 4, then we're talking a different story. I do think there may be a team out there that might be interested in Leote if our record isn't there. But I'm going to try and dwell on the positive to end our live today and not talk too much selling off guys, trading guys. Right now, it's a 3-game win streak. We've won, it's a 3-game win streak and 4 out of the last 6, right? We've won 4 of 6. We went 4-2 this week. Now we go into a road series with the Angels. Hopefully we can win that series or sweep it. And then you go into a tough series with the Astros before the All-Star break. Big series with the Stros. Big series. I hope that the Rangers can do good things out in LA, take a little pressure off that series. If you drop 2 out of 3 in Houston, it's not the end of the world. But if you go out into LA, if you go into Anaheim and you lose 2 of 3, or at worst, you get swept, okay, now that Houston series becomes huge. I don't think that's going to happen. I feel pretty confident the Rangers are going to go out to California and win some ball games. But if they were to drop 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3, that Houston series becomes so huge. You have got to win that Houston series if you drop games out in California. I don't think the Rangers are going to do it. I feel pretty confident that they're going to go out and play some good baseball against Ron Washington and the Angels. But just saying, if for whatever reason they stumble, they falter out in Anaheim, that Houston series becomes huge. John, what's up, my friend? Thanks for tuning in today. Let me read the comment out for anybody who's listening. It was good not to see Adolis striking out today. Wyatt cleaning up was a great thing to watch. Maybe Heim's finding something too. Yeah, I don't think that you can go back to Dolly in the 4 spot. I think it would be really disappointing to most Rangers fans. I don't speak for everybody. We have friendly disagreements on this show all the time, but I don't think that you can trot Dolly back out in the 4 spot after what the offense as a whole did today. So Langford, 4-hit day, 4 for 5 today. Obviously, we're going to lock in on him and all the success he's been having. But let's look at the offense as a whole. It's not a coincidence we score 13 runs when your cleanup hitter isn't hitting a $190 and driving in 0 runs. I just don't see how they can, in good conscience, trot Dolly back out there to the 4 spot when you have Wyatt Langford heating up like he is, and you just scored 13 runs without Adolis in the lineup. Now, Dolly's not going to get benched. I would rather have Dolly out there than Jankowski or than Derek Hill. As feel good of a story as Derek Hill was, hitting the 2 homers last Sunday, a week ago today. Look, Derek Hill is not the answer out there, in my humble opinion. Dolly, better than Jankowski, better than Derek Hill. I'd love to see Dolly hit 6th. Have Nate Lowe hit 5th, Dolly 6th, Jonah Heim 7th, Leote 8th, or Leote 7th, Jonah Heim 8th. And then look, Derek Hill 9th. I don't know. Something like that. I mean, it could go a number of different ways, but I just want to see Wyatt Langford continue to hit cleanup. That is a great guy to hit behind Josh Smith. When Josh Young gets back, you even have more of a reason not to hit Adolis up at the top of that lineup. So when Josh Young gets back, I would like to see it be Simeon, Seager, Smith, and then you go Wyatt Langford, you go Josh Young. Maybe against lefties, you go Josh Young in the 3 spot, Josh Smith in the 5 spot. But I think Wyatt Langford needs to become the cleanup hitter. I think 3 was a little bit of a tough spot for him, having to protect Corey Seager. I think Josh Smith, even though he's not a guy with like a plethora of MLB experience and at-bats and plate appearances, I still think veteran presence, he gives you a good at-bat nearly every time. I think Josh Smith and Josh Young are a little bit more apt to protect Corey Seager. I think that Wyatt Langford in that 4 spot is excellent. So I hope that they keep Wyatt there, and then you can kind of interchange the 3 and the 5 spot with Young and Smith, and then you have Adolis hitting 6th. I think that would be perfect. Again, I don't think it's a coincidence today. Offense rakes, Wyatt Langford goes off from the cleanoff spot, and Adolis is out of the lineup. Not saying bench Dolly, but I do think you have to make an adjustment. You can't have your 4-hole hitter hitting 6 RBIs, batting in 6 RBI over his last 30 games and hitting 190 over his last 30 games. And I love Adolis Garcia. Not hating on the guy, just speaking facts, right? The stats are what they are. You can't keep trotting him out there and expecting him to suddenly find it. You just don't have the time. I think that's it more than anything. You don't have time for Adolis Garcia to figure it out. Your season is pretty close to being lost. You're about a 5 losing streak away, a 5-game losing streak away from the season being out of reach. I'm not trying to be dramatic. If the Rangers were to lose 5 games in a row right now, I don't know if you're talking playoffs anymore. You're talking about selling guys. You cannot afford to go on a losing streak. You can't afford to give Adolis time to figure it out. You have got to push the right buttons right now with this lineup to keep them playing well. We need a sustained month of excellence to have a shot at playoffs right now. I really feel that way. You cannot go ho-hum 500 ball every week. You have got to start going 4-2, 5-2 if you play 7 games in a week. It's got to start happening. We do not have time for Adolis Garcia to figure it out from the 4 spot. All right, let's take a look. Let's talk some positives here because we kind of went off on Dolly a little bit and we nitpicked a little bit. Let's talk positives. So Jonah Heim finding it. 4-hit day today for Jonah Heim. If Heim can come around and be the 95 RBI guy, or even a step below the 95 RBI guy that he was last year, I will take that. I've said since the beginning of the year, if we can just get 1 for 4 from Heim and Taveras every night, you will absolutely take that. We don't need these guys to be raking like they did today, but you will absolutely take 1 for 4 from those guys every night. I know I will. So Jonah Heim, 360 over his last 7 games. Last 15 games, Jonah Heim is hitting 306. That's a game changer. That's a season changer. A big reason why the Rangers offense has been so bad is because some of these guys that were all-star game starters last year are not hitting. So for Jonah Heim to be hitting 306 in his last 15 and 360 in his last 7, godsend for this Rangers team. 100%. So Jonah Heim, big day today. Love to see him hitting that bomb, right? Hitting some lasers all over the field. He had some very solid line drives. That one at bat, I think it was in the bottom of the 4th for Jonah Heim when Seager hit the 3-run homer. Jonah Heim got down to like an 0-2 or 1-2 count. Littell mistakes over the middle of the plate. And Jonah Heim just hit a laser to center field for a single. Actually ended up getting to second base because they tried to throw to third. That was an impressive at bat. For me, that's a huge positive sign for Jonah Heim. You get down 2 strikes, the pitcher makes a mistake, and you punish it for a line drive to center field for a base knock. Jonah Heim being right is everything for this Rangers team right now. Jonah Heim, all-star catcher, all-star game starter last year. 95 RBI last year. He's a big reason why the Rangers were so good in the first half of 2023. And look, continuing into the second half of the season, Heim did cool off a little bit. And in the World Series and in the playoffs, didn't have gaudy numbers. But of course, Jonah Heim, lots of intangibles, Gold Glove catcher, manages the rotation and the bullpen very well. But to have his bat going positive, going solid right now, again, it's everything for the Rangers. They need everybody clicking right now. This is the right time for a lot of guys to get hot. Leote, Heim, Langford, Nate Lowe. This is the time for these Rangers bats to get hot. Like Chris Young, Rangers president said a couple of weeks ago, it's time. We got to get going. Right? There's not time to figure it out anymore. We got to go. We got to start getting wins. Guys got to start hitting, and that is what's happening, and you love to see it. Leote Taveras, let's look at his stats. Last 7 games before today, Leote was hitting 400 over his last 7. Leote is now hitting 455 over his last 7 games. Leote hitting 370 over his last 15 games. Last 15 games, Leote has a 434 OBP. Last 7 games, 500 OBP. Leote, ever since they started platooning him, has been killing it. And you love to see it as a Rangers fan. Love to see it. Gio, what's up, my guy? Thanks for tuning in. 4-2. We said it before the week. Go 4-2 this week and go 4-2 next week. Finish out the All-Star break before the All-Star break. 8-4 over the last 2 weeks, and you're in position. It's not like that guarantees the Rangers playoffs and beyond, but we said it at the beginning of this week. On Monday, the Rangers needed to go 8-4 over the next 2 weeks. You went 4-2 this week. We need 4-2 this coming week. And look, the Rangers will be in position for some playoffs, maybe not to be sellers, and possibly to be a buyer of a right-handed bat or some depth. We'll see what happens. But yes, Rangers going 4-2, sweeping the Rays. That was huge. 2 out of 3 against the Rays, we would have been okay with it. But look, going 3-3 on the homestand, that's not what's going to get you to the playoffs. You've got to go 4-2, 5-2 on homestands when you have them. And the Rangers, mission accomplished this week. Now go out to Anaheim and sweep the Angels. Wouldn't that be fun? Talking about a 6-game win streak, go out and sweep the Angels in Anaheim. at least 2 out of 3. And then you go to Houston, you maybe steal 2 out of 3, and you're going into the All-Star break with a lot of confidence. Absolutely. All right, let's keep rolling through the box score. We're making our way. Seager, by the way, 12-game hitting streak now. 12-game hitting streak for Seager. Let's dwell on some of his numbers. Seager hitting .417 in his last 7 games. .481 OBP. 2 homers in his last 7 games. Seager's hitting .316 over his last 15 with 10 RBI. When Corey Seager is hitting like this, as we said at the beginning of the show, the offense typically follows. Corey Seager being right is everything. So 16 homers for Seager on the season. I think I told y'all at the very beginning of the year, Corey Seager's over-under for home runs, I think was 28.5 or 29.5. He's on pace. I said that was an absolute lock. The over was. We'll see if Seager makes it to 30 homers this year. I think he will. There's still a lot of baseball left to be played. We've got 72 games left. Seags needs about 14 more homers over the course of 70 games to cash that bet. We'll take it. So Corey Seager playing very, very well right now. And as we go down the rest of the lineup, Nate Lowe, 1 for 4 with the walk, on base twice. He did have 3 Ks today, but hard to get mad at Nate Lowe getting on base twice. He seemed to settle kind of in the 5 spot, 3 spot for the Rangers right now. I'm sure he'll maybe dip down a little bit when Josh Young gets back, if I had to guess. Travis Jankowski, man, I'm really glad to see he had a nice day today. Jankowski had been basically terrible over the first 80, 90 games of this season. He had a few nice games at the beginning of the year, but over his last 30 games, even with the performance today, Travis Jankowski was hitting 190. He is hitting 190 over his last 30 games. So Jankowski, big game today for him. Hopefully that can get him right. So when he does get these little opportunities here and there, he's ready to take advantage of them. Travis Jankowski's not going to be playing a ton for us this year, especially when Evan Carter gets back. But when he is called upon, it's nice to see him having a nice day at the plate. 2 hits, 3 RBI, good for him. Robbie Grossman comes in and hits a pinch hit bomb. That's not easy to do, but it was fun watching Robbie go deep today. So he goes home run and a walk. Hadn't seen Robbie in a while. It's been a little while since we faced a lefty starter. I believe it was in the Baltimore series, like maybe on Friday night. So it's been, I think, over a week since we've seen Robbie, if I'm not mistaken. So good to see him come out a little cold and hit a home run, get a walk. Hopefully, when we face some lefties later on this next week, I think the Angels have a couple of lefties they're probably going to throw at us. Hopefully, Robbie will be ready to go and ready to produce against the Angels and the lefties they'll throw at us. Derek Hill goes 1 for 5 with an RBI. He's cooled a little bit since that big Sunday game. Again, when Evan Carter gets back, a lot of these guys are not going to be getting as much time. But look, Derek Hill getting on base once from the 9 spot. You can't get too mad at the guy. From the 9 spot, if that guy can get on base one time, I think you did your job. You're not expecting your 9-hole hitter to go multi-hit for you. Maybe get on twice, base hit and a walk. But look, most of the time, I think most teams are going to take 1 for 4 from their 9-hole. Now, let's go to the pitching. We talked about Evo, 2 quality starts in a row. Really settled in after that home run. Only 4 base runners allowed today. No walks. Did give up the home run, but like I said, really settled in. 5 strikeouts. Evo has dominated the Rays this year. He went 7 shutout innings back in April when we went to Tampa Bay. So Evo's kind of got the Rays number of late here. I don't think he pitched. Did he pitch against the Rays in the playoffs last year? I don't think so. Maybe he did. I don't know. I can't remember. Memory is failing me right now. But Evo of late has had the Rays number. Great to see him go out, improve his record to 6-3 on the season. And we will probably see Evo in that Astros series now. That should be fun. The last time Evo was in Houston, was it Game 7, or was it game 2 or 3? I forget which one it was, but Evo had an outstanding game in the playoffs. I think it was game 2 in Houston. So it'll be fun to see Evo go back there. You want to have Nate Eovaldi starting against the Astros in that series. So I think things aligned really nicely for Evo to be starting against the Stros, give us the chance to get a win. I think Scherzer will be starting on that Sunday game if everything aligns great. So to have Scherzer and Evo starting in that Astros series, it's absolutely huge. I kind of wonder, I would love to ask Bruce Bochy, I kind of wonder if they designed it that way with the starting rotation. If they kind of mapped it out or if it's just purely coincidence, I don't know. But if you have Evo and Scherzer going on Saturday, Sunday in that Astros series, what more could you ask for? What more could you ask for? Now, Andrew Heaney will probably be starting on Friday night, if I had to guess. We'll see what happens. But I really, really feel good about the Rangers' chances in Houston with Evo and Scherzer most likely going back-to-back on Saturday, Sunday. And, of course, with how Andrew Heaney's been throwing the ball, he'll probably get the start on Friday, you would think, Friday night, Thursday off day. You would think Heaney's going to be out there Friday night. You'll take Andrew Heaney, Evo, Scherzer in Houston to try and get some wins against the Stros. I know I will. So let's go ahead and let's check some comments, and then we're going to preview the Angels series. We'll do AL West roundup and AL West division standings, look at the wild card standings, and then we'll get out of here. This comment says, will Carter play a lot of center when he comes back? I would think with Leote playing so well, maybe you're going to have Evan Carter playing some different positions. I don't know if Carter's going to be playing a lot of center with Leote playing this well. And look, with Leote only really playing against righties, that's going to be interesting because right now, the way that they've designed it, Evan Carter's really only playing against righties. Evan Carter wasn't playing against lefties. So I don't know. I'm not really sure what they're going to do. I'd imagine they're going to have Wyatt continue to hold down that lefty spot. Adolis Garcia, I don't know. He might be losing some ABs if he continues to not play well. I could see him losing some ABs here and there. It's just going to happen. The Rangers are going to have to play who's hot. Right now, at this point in the season, you don't have time for loyalty and not hurting people's feelings. You got to play who's hot. And right now, Leote's hot. Wyatt's hot. When Evan Carter comes back, he's probably not going to be an everyday guy. You're going to have Leote out there. You're going to have Garcia out there. Maybe Evan Carter takes some Garcia at bats. I don't know. It's going to be tough. It's going to be really interesting. I'm really curious to see what they do when Evan Carter comes back. That's going to be a big, big thing to watch. This comment says Evo pitched game 2 against the Rays in the wild card round. That's what I was kind of thinking, but I wasn't sure. So look, Evo has dominated the Rays, has absolutely dominated the Rays since probably last October. And I'm here for it. It's great to see. Now, let's take a look at the series against the Angels. Let's see if the Rangers have announced starting pitching. And then we're going to go to the AL West roundup. That'll give us some time for some of those games to go final. So tomorrow night, there is actually not a lot of MLB action. There's only 7 games going tomorrow. John Gray will be starting against Daniel. He does not have a lot of experience. He's only got 5 total games under his belt in MLB, 2 starts in MLB. So I don't really think that this is the guy that's very well proven. Davis Daniel is sporting a 2.70 ERA on the season. No Rangers are going to have, I don't think, any at-bats off of him. But John Gray will be throwing against Daniel and the Angels tomorrow. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens in that game. It's always a little bit of a crapshoot when you're going against a guy that doesn't have a lot of major league experience. I would think that would favor the Rangers. I do believe Daniel is a righty as well. Rangers do hit the righties pretty well this year, so I feel pretty good about the Rangers' chances of keeping things going. John Gray on the other side against the Angels. There is Ohapi, who's got a home run off him, the Angels catcher. Kevin Pillar does have a home run off of John Gray as well. Other than that, Drury is the only guy that has significant at-bats against John Gray. Pillar has 12 and is 3 for 12 with the bomb. So there's really nobody you're penciling at this point and really worried about in the Angels lineup. They do have some scrappy hitters, but John Gray has done well against this Angels lineup in the past. I think the Rangers have a very good shot at taking game 1 of a 3-game set against the Angels tomorrow. So John Gray tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, let's see if we've announced starters yet. It might start getting a little bit dicey. Scherzer will be going on Tuesday, and he will be facing off against Contreras, who has a 4.04 ERA. And then on Wednesday, looks like Wednesday will be Lorenzen versus Canning. Griffin Canning has a 4.87 ERA on the season. Lorenzen coming off of 5 shutout innings. So we'll see what happens. Lorenzen obviously was a little bit wild on that, what was it, Thursday night? Sorry, y'all. I'm getting a Friday night game, right? Lorenzen was Friday night. And I think he's going to give us a great chance to go out there, hopefully get a series sweep on Wednesday. So I like how this rotation is lining up. With John Gray going on Monday, maybe it'll be John Gray on Sunday against the Stros. Not sure. I know I said Scherzer maybe on Sunday against the Stros. It might end up being John Gray. So it would be Heaney probably starting Friday night. I think it would have to be Heaney. Heaney on Friday, Evo Saturday, John Gray Sunday going into the All-Star break. That's how it looks like it's aligning right now. Now, let's go ahead and let's do a little AL West roundup, shall we? So as we look at the scores from around the league today, right now, there are a few games that have gone final. The Astros lose to the Twins today, 3-2. It's a beautiful thing. 3-2. The Twins walk off the Astros in the bottom of the 9th for the 3-2 victory. Any day the Astros lose and the Rangers win, it is an outstanding day. And we look around, the Angels lose 5-0 today to the Cubs. So Angels are coming back home, losing that series to the Cubs. And before that Cubs series, they were on a 5-game losing streak. So it's a good time to be playing the Angels. They're a little bit down and out right now. Angels lose 5-0 to the Cubs in Chicago. So that's Astros and Angels. The A's are losing to the Orioles 5-2 right now in the top of the 7th. The Mariners are leading the Jays 4-1 in the bottom of the 6th. So it's lining up for most teams in the AL West to be taking the L today. Mariners are on their way to a victory. Hopefully the Blue Jays can catch a little late inning magic. That sure would be nice to gain a full game on both the Mariners and the Astros today on our way out to Anaheim tomorrow. Now we look at the standings, and obviously the Mariners winning would change things a little bit. But as we look at it right now, the Rangers have pulled within 4 games of the Astros. They are in 3rd place right now, 4 games out of 2nd place. And right now, they would pull up to 6 games back of the Mariners. If the Mariners were to lose, they would drop to 7 games back of the Mariners, 1st place in the division, if the Mariners were to get a win. Right now, the wild card standings. The Rangers, actually, it was kind of a big series. The Rays were ahead of the Rangers in the wild card standings. So the Rangers are able to pull within 3 full games of the Rays, are able to, I should say, shorten that Rays lead by 3 games with the sweep today. But they are 7 games out of a wild card spot at the moment. Angels are 11 games out of 1st place. They are 4.5 games, 5 5.5 games. Sorry, 5-ish games behind the Rangers. And the A's are 15 games out, and they are 8.5 games back of the Rangers as of today. And that is the AL West roundup and division standings. So we'll check comments one more time, and we'll make sure we didn't miss anything. But we're looking forward to another week of some Rangers wins, y'all. I think it is as good of a week as any. The Rangers are going to have a tough series with the Stros in Houston later this week, but I am feeling confident about this team getting some wins out in Anaheim, extending this winning streak. They've got John Gray, you've got Scherzer and Lorenzen starting against the Angels, 3 great pitchers. Hopefully this offense can stay hot, and we can make it 6 in a row after our time out in California is done. That is the plan. Hey, I want to say, if you would, if you're not already subscribed, you're not already following the account, I would greatly appreciate it if you hit that follow or subscribe button. Thank you so much for supporting us here at Right On Rangers. If you would also, please, if you know somebody that is a big Rangers fan, loves baseball, go ahead and share this video with them. Share one of my shorts or reels with them. Let's keep growing this community of good people talking baseball, talking Rangers baseball. I would really, really appreciate it. It would mean a lot to me. Last thing we'll do is we'll go through the MLB headlines today. So doesn't look like there's a whole lot notable. Tarek Skubal for the Tigers struck out 13 today. Tigers swept the Reds. Let's see. We've got the Mets winning today, beating the Pirates. Sean Manaea, strong start for him. Lindor, clutch base hit to propel the Mets to that victory. And Braves look like hit 4 homers today to beat the Phillies and win that series. And what's the night game? Oh, Boston, New York, of course. That'll be fun. We'll be tuning into that. Yankees, Red Sox, Sunday Night Baseball. That is an absolute classic. We're big baseball fans here. We love the Rangers. Obviously, we don't like the Astros, and there's some other teams in the MLB that we don't care for too much, but we're just baseball fans here. So I love a little bit of that Boston-New York series. It's always fun. Although I must say, I've enjoyed it more since they've implemented the pitch clock, because y'all know that Boston-New York series, every game was almost guaranteed to go 4 hours. I mean, it was like a no doubt. If you were watching Yankees-Red Sox back before the pitch clock, you better have 4 hours blocked out at minimum. At minimum. Those games were never quick. So I got to say, I do enjoy watching those series a little bit more now that they have a pitch clock and the games don't go 4 hours. But classic Sunday Night Baseball matchup in the Bronx. We'll be watching. And beyond that, y'all, I don't think there's a whole lot else. I'll be curious to see. I'm excited to see who they end up naming for the All-Star pitching staff and obviously relievers. So we'll see what happens there. But it should be fun. It should be fun. But thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Whether you're watching live or on the replay, thank you so much. Frankie, what's up, buddy? Hey, this is like 3 or 4 days in a row, my guy. Thanks so much for tuning in. Appreciate the support. Hope you're having a good summer, bud. Well, all right, y'all. I think we have gone on long enough, just under the hour mark. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday and a great week ahead. Hey, join us. It'll be late. It'll be late night, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all y'all in Texas. But hey, join us late night for Right On Rangers after those Angels games are done. I think every game against the Angels is a night game, so those games aren't going to be getting over till 10 or 11 Texas time. But we'll be going late night. So hey, join us for a little late night Right On Rangers, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It'll be great. Have a great rest of your Sunday, a great week ahead. And as I always say to end every show, God bless. Go Rangers. Have a good one, y'all. Bye now.